All right, Royal Hit friends, grab your tea because this one is scalding. Prince Harry walked out of a London courtroom, looked into a camera, and used the word whitewash, like he's the wronged party here, after a judge just handed down a 436-page ruling that reads less like a legal document and more like a professional demolition. And while he was doing that, his bank account was quietly getting demolished right alongside his reputation. Meanwhile, 3,000 miles away, Meghan was over in a MasterChef Australia kitchen getting called royalty by strangers and getting roasted online for it before the episode even finished airing. Two Sussexes, same week, two completely different disasters. Let's get into it. If you're new here, hit subscribe because this channel exists purely to translate royal chaos into something you can understand before your group chat does. Let's go. So here's what actually happened, because the headlines have been doing a lot of heavy lifting and not a lot of explaining. Back in 2022, Harry teamed up with a genuinely star-studded group: Elton John, his husband David Furnish, Liz Hurley, Sadie Frost, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, and former Lib Dem deputy leader Simon Hughes, to sue Associated Newspapers, the publisher of the Daily Mail, over claims of phone hacking, bugged cars, and other unlawful information gathering. 97 separate allegations, 14 of them from Harry himself, covering articles going back to 2001. This July, Mr. Justice Nicklin threw out every single one of them. Not some, not most, all 97. His written ruling ran 436 pages, and it did not hold back. The claimants' evidence was described as unconvincing and inconsistent, and the input from their own private investigator was, in the judge's words, comprehensively undermined. And then came the reaction. Harry, alongside Baroness Lawrence, put out a joint statement calling the result a complete and obvious whitewash, adding that the court's efforts to clear the mail were, quote, as shocking as it is totally unwarranted. Now, you can already guess how well that landed with the judge, because this isn't Harry's first rodeo with dramatic post-loss commentary. He called a previous security funding defeat a good old-fashioned establishment stitch-up. There's a pattern here, and it's not a pattern of winning gracefully. Associated Newspapers told the court its own legal bill for defending this case hit an eye-watering £34.5 million. Harry and his co-claimants only had an insurance policy capped at roughly £16.2 million. Do that math, and if the court awards costs anywhere near what the Mail is asking for, the claimants could be personally on the hook for somewhere around £18 million on top of what their insurance already covers. Spread evenly across 7 claimants, that lands right around £2.5 to £2.6 million each. Out of pocket, no insurance safety net, just a personal wire transfer to the publisher that just spent 400 pages explaining why you were wrong. And the Mail's lawyers didn't stop at asking for the money. They specifically cited Harry's whitewash comment as evidence that the claimants behaved unreasonably, arguing costs should be awarded on a harsher basis because of it. So that fiery little soundbite outside the courthouse, it may have literally cost him more money. You could not write this. Now here's where it gets spicy, because the tabloid rumor mill has been working overtime since the ruling. Multiple outlets are reporting, and I want to stress, this is reported, not confirmed, that Harry may have gone looking for financial help from Elton John, specifically around funding the Invictus Games, which is reportedly tens of millions short of its own fundraising target. And the alleged response, according to a source quoted by journalist Paula Froelich, was a blunt, "I am not an ATM." Whether that quote is real or tabloid embellishment, I genuinely don't know, and neither does anyone reporting it with a straight face. But the optics are rough regardless. One of Diana's oldest friends, who has known Harry since he was in diapers, is apparently not thrilled about being asked to underwrite a lawsuit he already lost money on himself. Which is why the internet has started joking that Elton might need to unretire for a few arena dates just to cover the group legal tab. Is that actually happening? No indication of it. Is it a fun thing to speculate about at Harry's expense? Absolutely, and I will not be stopping. And that brings us to the other rumor doing laps this week, that Harry might turn up on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here for a Paycheck. There's no confirmation of this anywhere. It is pure speculative gossip. But the fact that people are floating a reality show cash grab as a plausible theory tells you a lot about where public perception of the Sussex finances currently sits. While Harry was in a London courtroom having his credibility surgically removed, Meghan was in Melbourne pretending to be a MasterChef Australia judge. This wasn't fake tabloid speculation, by the way. This genuinely happened. Filmed back in April during the couple's trip to Australia, Meghan appeared as a guest judge alongside the actual panel, set contestants a mystery box challenge built around ingredients she personally likes, and had a whole moment where they described one dish as needing to be fit for a duchess. Subtle, very subtle. Then, because apparently one Sussex on screen wasn't enough content, Harry popped in via video call from Canberra to ask, and I promise I'm not making this up, what's going on? Have I interrupted something important? Be honest, if your partner called you mid-work to ask if he'd interrupted something important, would you not immediately question the relationship? Reception was, let's say, divided. Some viewers loved it, loved the Duchess, such class, one comment read. Contestants described being starstruck, calling the whole thing theatrical and electric. Great, wonderful, glowing. But then the other half of the internet showed up. Critics pointed out this was the same country Meghan and Harry stepped back from royal duties in relation to essentially cameoing in for a paid guest spot without, in critics' words, having given anything back to Australia in the years since. One commentary piece in The Spectator went so far as to call the whole appearance an increasingly desperate attempt to build on the non-existent momentum left over from her Netflix cooking show With Love Meghan, which, let's be honest, did not exactly set streaming charts on fire. And then, because the universe has a sense of humor, reports started circulating from set insiders describing Meghan as one of the more demanding guests the show has ever hosted, with one production source reportedly saying there was an audible sigh of relief once filming wrapped. Again, insider gossip, unverified, take with the appropriate grain of salt. But combined with the online mockery of the episode itself, it's not exactly the redemption arc the Sussex PR machine was probably hoping for. So to recap the vibe of this week, Harry's out here being told by a judge he owes millions, and Meghan's getting quietly side-eyed by a MasterChef crew. Iconic. Truly a family that cannot catch a single break unless they're the ones tripping over it themselves. Here's what I actually think is going on, and I want to be clear that this next bit is analysis, not fact. You've got a couple who built their entire post-royal brand on the idea that they were bigger, more relevant, and more bankable outside the institution than in it. And what we're watching right now is that theory getting stress-tested in real time, a Netflix deal that's reportedly cooled off significantly since the early splashy years, a cooking show that didn't land, and now a legal strategy that just resulted in one of the most comprehensively negative rulings a group of celebrities has received from a British court in recent memory. Add in persistent chatter, again chatter, not confirmed reporting about tension with Buckingham Palace insiders, and the fact that both of them seem to be leaning harder into Diana-adjacent imagery and messaging lately, and you start to get a picture of two people who know the Sussex brand, needs a refresh, and are reaching for whatever gets attention, whether that's a paparazzi story out of Portugal or a guest spot on a cooking show 10,000 miles from home. Does that mean they're broke? No, nobody credible is claiming that. Does it mean the "we're doing better than ever" narrative took a real hit this month? Also, no argument from me there. So that's where we're at. Harry's looking at a personal bill that could run into the millions with no guarantee anyone's bailing him out. And Meghan's getting mixed reviews for a guest judging gig that was supposed to be a soft, low-stakes win. Let me know down in the comments. Do you think Elton actually pays up, or is Harry finding out the hard way what "I am not an ATM" means? And be honest about that MasterChef appearance too. Charming or cringe, I want to know. If this kept you entertained, smash that subscribe button, ring the bell, and I'll see you Royal Hitt friends in the next one.